So here's one question that I've always wondered. Uh, what is the difference between a cook and a chef?
That's a really great question. I think that you would get a different answer from different people.
Sure.
A really by the book answer that you might get in culinary school is that there is a culinary organization that gives certificates with different titles. So you could get an ACF certified sous chef certificate or an ACF certified chef certificate. When you graduate culinary school, you get an ACF certified cook certificate. Most people don't know that, and when I say most people, I mean chefs, restaurateurs. Like, unless you were in culinary school, we maybe it got brought up as like, by the way, you're going to get the certificate. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
But if you were to interview with Disney, then they might pay for, or you might want to go and get a certificate to attach to your resume. It would be worth it if you had this very corporate pursuit. In the real world, it really means, one of the best definitions that I've heard is that you're not a chef until somebody voluntarily calls you a chef.
Okay.
And that's kind of a little bit more of a romantic way to think about it. That there were restaurants that I worked in where it was just the person that was in charge. They were hired as the chef de cuisine, would be a title that was familiar to me. There's restaurants where there's kitchen managers. There's restaurants where there are, they hold all kinds of different titles. And then there's restaurants where there's a chef, and you kind of know that, and they're the person in charge. It's obviously the most literal way to kind of describe it. I worked in fine dining restaurants, and as it's been kind of seen on television, there's a culture of cooks and chefs to call everybody chef, where it doesn't have anything to do with the hierarchy. It's a sign of respect, and it's a sign of inclusion, that you are part of the club, you are one of us, and in the highest restaurants, there is a chef de cuisine, there is an executive chef. That hierarchy still exists, but the name chef, you would say to the dishwasher, you would say to somebody that you would say to a purveyor that came in that you respected and that you liked, you would call them chef. So kind of obviously a very wide, sprawling definition of the word, but I like it that way.